here's my shirt. I like to give the old ladies out in the country a pearl clutching moment. Let me shut this door. Alright, so I tried to film this yesterday and it just wasn't going as well as I hoped, and then Coco threw up on my table. She's fine. They like to go out and eat dead leaves like it's some kind of delicacy, and we've tried to make them stop, and I don't know, they just really like it. So I just decided after about an hour of trying to film that I was going to do it today instead, just because I want to do a good job. I know there's usually a lot of new people that come and watch when we do WIP parades every year. So first off, I wanted to do an introduction. My name is Carrie. I am redvelvet_quilts on Instagram. I live with my husband Jake, and we have 3 dogs and a cat. So we have 2 miniature dachshunds, Ginger and Whiskey, and a long-haired Chihuahua named Coco. We got Whiskey first, and then we got Coco. So I named her Coco because it was kind of like a whiskey and Coke theme. And then when Ginger came along, she's not a red dachshund at all. She's actually like a black and gray dapple. But yeah, we have Whiskey, Gin, and Coke. So, and Whiskey, we named him Whiskey because he's a liquor. We live out in the country between Houston and Austin in Texas. And tomorrow is my birthday, January 13th. I will be 38. I am a long arm quilter. I've quilted since January 2011, I think, is when I got my first sewing machine. Then I got my first long arm in 2016. I started quilting for the industry in 2017. So I've done some work for Moda and a few prominent quilt designers. I've been in 7 or 8 books, I think. And I'm still quilting. I quilt for the public if anybody needs long arm quilting. I do have a website, redvelvetquilting.com. I try to keep my turnaround time pretty short to 3 weeks. What else? I started cross stitching in February 2020 before the pandemic had hit. It kind of became a pandemic hobby, but I had started stitching just a couple of weeks before the pandemic really hit. And I started off on, I think I started on 14 count, and then I remember jumping up to 25 count, and I did not understand 2 threads over 2. So on 25 count, I was trying to do 2 threads over 1, and I just did not understand how that worked. So it took me a little while to figure that one out, but now my preferred count is 36 or 40 count, and I stitch in hand unless it's over 1. I just prefer the sewing method, and it lets me go faster. And my favorite designers are Brenda, Gervais, and Plum Street, so you'll see a lot of those. I have 67-ish WIPs to share today. I know that's a lot. I'm okay with it. I stitch a lot of Christmas and Halloween. So this past Christmas, I had a lot of new starts just because I've had so many things planned that I want to stitch. I just decided I'm going to get a start on as many as I feel like. And at least then I will feel like I'm on my way to getting these charts stitched. So I'm going to try to jump around so I'm not showing all Christmas and all Halloween at once. I know some of us are sick of the Christmas stitching, and I certainly do not want to look at Halloween stitching, but we're going to do it today. So I'm just going to grab, I have my big box of WIPs down here, and I've been storing them in these plastic hanging bags. I got the idea from Nicole Spohr. She kind of rotates her WIPs in and out of the fabric project bags. And I kind of like that idea because then I can see what I have easier since they're clear. Coco's here. It's only a matter of time. Come here, do you want to say hi? Come here. She's gonna be shy. Come here. Can you come here? Come here. Okay, it has to be her idea. Come here. There we go. There we go. So here's my little puker. Yeah. She just had her LUNCH. So maybe she'll settle down and have a nap. So anyway, I have these hanging bags behind me, and once I got them all in the hanging bags and I put them on the closet rod, they only take up like that much space. It's not that bad. And I still have room to grow if I want to. I'm not going to continually add to it. I do want to knock the number down a little bit. But I am going to put Coco in her bed, which is behind my computer here. Can you go over and get in your bed? Huh? Go over and get in your bed. Oh, without knocking things. There we go. Okay, hopefully she settles down and she behaves. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the WIPs that I've been working on recently, which are in fabric bags. And I'm really hoping the zippers and the rustling and the crackling is not too bad. Winnie just walked in. I know that because she just banged the door open. Hey, Winnie. Psst, 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 psst. All right. The first thing I'm going to share, I have been working on Winter Trio by With Thy Needle and Thread. I started this last week, I think. I'm using all the called for. It calls for 36 count winter brew. I did have to order, sorry, my nose itches. I did have to order Classic Colorworks Weather Vane in order to do the brown. And if you saw my last video when I shared my cross stitch closet, I'm sure you're wondering how I did not have all the called for thread for this pattern. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that I didn't have everything. So I would have substituted, but this other pattern that I had pulled was also missing a color. So I figured I'm just gonna go ahead and place an order from 123, and it's not like shipping is outrageous when you order from them. So I was okay with it. Coco is getting out of her bed now. Yep, that's where you threw up yesterday. Okay, so the first chart I did finish except for the brown lettering. It says Hello Summer. That's 36 count winter brew, which I love. It's one of my favorite fabrics to stitch on. And then, and I apologize for the needle and thread hanging out of it, but I have the second one maybe 60% done. Again, I'm waiting for that. It's supposed to come today, and then I can hopefully actually finish these guys up. But after Christmas ends every year and I take down all my decor, I'm always just really sad. And the house is just barren. It looks like a hospital waiting room. And I decided I need to have winter decor, something that makes me happy to put out after Christmas, because I'm not really into Valentine's Day decor. It's just not my thing, which is weird because my logo is red and pink. You would think I'd be all over it, but I don't really like to stitch Valentine's Day. Not to say I don't have any Valentine's Day stitching that I've done, but I was thinking maybe I would work on winter cross-stitch displays. So I'm getting a head start on that. And then the other chart I pulled, I haven't started it yet, but this is one of her new ones, Snowmen in the Forecast. And it's just so cute. So I did not have Classic Colorworks Shamrock, which I guess must be the green in it. And again, I could have substituted, but I'm being really anal retentive about it. And I didn't have enough. It called for vintage homespun linen, 36 count. I'm actually going to be using Color and Cotton 40 count Palomino for mine. I did join that club. I was able to get into the 40 count neutral. Very excited. That is the only linen club I am in. After seeing all the linen I have in my cross-stitch organization journey, which you can view at the end of my last video, If you see how much linen I have, you'll know that I do not need more linen, but I've never stitched on color and cotton, and I really want to see what that's all about. And this is in my mercantile project bag that I made myself, and it has a little weenie dog charm. Very cute. That's the back. I do sell these. Not this one specifically, but I do have some Valentine's Day project bags that I will be listing soon, and I sell them on my website now. I have left Etsy. That's not to say I don't have a shop anymore, but Etsy really sticks it to their sellers in terms of fees, and I already have a website, so I figured I will just figure out how to enable the shop section. So if you are interested in getting on the email notification for my project bags, you can go to my website, redvelvetquilting.com, and just click on the store, and there's a form right at the top. All you have to do is enter your email, nothing else. So this next one, I think, so this is Gentler Times, the fabric line. I still have fabric to make these. I just need to cut out and figure out how many I can make. I haven't worked on this since I last talked about it. I still have it in one of these project bags though. This was the Jingle Ball exclusive from Annie B's, Oh Holy Night. And the called for was 36 count Nantucket Brew, but I wanted to do it on 40 count. I don't know why that is. I just decided, let's do it on 40. I'm going to switch my camera so y'all can see a little bit better. Those are my notes. Never mind my notes. I didn't want to forget some things. Okay, so here's what I have. Move that a little bit. I hope I'm not totally askew now. So I'm doing it on 40 count Nantucket Eve by Seraphim instead of the called for 36 count. And I really love the house in this. I was thinking it would be much, much bigger, but it's really only this wide. That's not very big at all, but it's still like an apartment building, you know, like it's really tall. But I was kind of pleasantly surprised that it was only that wide. So I started at Christmas Day. I'm working on it with my friend Jody. We are having so much fun. We love the colors. She's got some of the front door filled in. I tend to save all my fill for last. So we'll see when I start the fill, but really love the colors in this one. And I'm thinking I'm not going to do the border around it just because that makes it harder to frame, and I frame all my stuff myself. So I don't really want to deal with that. And I don't think it really adds much to the pattern, but it's just so cute. So here's all the threads. Really pretty. I love, this is Aztec Red by Weeks. So that is Oh Holy Night. Let's see what's in this one. This one, oh, I'm doing Prairie Schooler. Oh, let me fix this. Just take my notes down. Am I straight? Sort of. All right. This is in my Peace and Plenty project bags. I love this line so much. So pretty. I love everything Lori Holt does. So I left the chart in the other room, so I'm gonna have to go grab it. This is, so 2 years ago, I was stitching like crazy in the month of December. Well, that would have been 3 years ago. So December 2023, I was nuts over Prairie Schooler Santas, and I stitched Prairie Schooler for like most of the month of December, and then after Christmas, I still wanted to stitch Prairie Schooler Santas, so I decided the whole month of January 2024 was going to be Prairie Schooler January. And I had, just in the month of January, I think I had 30 finishes. And I know that's crazy, but we were building our house that we're in now, and I needed something to do to keep the crazy away. So I channeled it all into my stitching, and just Some of them were small, some of them were big. I finished a lot. If you want to see all of that, I think I shared it. I know there's a post on Instagram where you can see a photo of everything I finished, but just scroll back to January 2024. So this year, I was feeling the itch to stitch some Prairie Schooler again in January. So I picked out a couple of patterns, and one of them is actually called January. And I'm using the Lori Holt thread conversion, which you can see her version in her 4th Flosstube video from 2020. I'm going to go grab the chart and hold it up so that y'all can see the thread conversion. Okay, so this is Lori's thread conversion. I shared this on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and it was a screenshot of her handwriting, but she wrote it in pencil, and it's a little hard to read, so I wrote it in black ink on mine, and hopefully y'all can take a screenshot of that if you're interested in using her conversion on Prairie Schooler. But the pattern looks like this. So I'm doing the large piece. I have stitched the small snow day piece on a piece. I stitched it on 32 count raw silver, and it's really cute. I put it on a little sled from Hobby Lobby. But if anyone is wanting to stitch along with me, I have a couple people that are doing Prairie Schooler January. The other patterns I have pulled are Santa Rides. And what's the other one? Oh, it's the one, there's several patterns in it, but it's the one, it's a square one that says Peace on Earth, Goodwill to Men, and it's kind of framed out with greenery. So I'm not sure I'm going to get to those this month, but if I finish this, I'd really like to finish it and get it framed. And then move on to more Prairie Schooler if there's time, but I'm gonna frame it. I just recently put up picture ledges in our living room, and I don't have a whole lot of framed pieces, so I want to fill it up, have some winter stitching out. So that's January. I'm thinking I probably will go back and add that border. I wasn't sure about it, just because framing wise it might be kind of hard, but I saw Lori did the border, and then someone else messaged me or tagged me on Instagram, and they had done the border in a lighter gray instead of that dark roof color, so I might suck it up and do that probably last. And then the broom here, I need to change that to the gold called for, or Lori's gold conversion, which was, I think she just used 729 DMC, because it looks like a shovel, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a broom. So something to watch out for when you're stitching it. So there's that. So now I'm going to get into my plastic WIP bags. This is a leftover Santa that I did not finish at the end of January 2024. So I was stitching this guy here, and that's all I have done on him. I'm doing him on 32 count raw petty point because I wanted it to look like he was out in the snow sledding. One of these days I will finish him. We have a 12-foot Christmas tree, and I have sort of designated it as the Prairie Schooler Santa tree. So all our ornaments are round ball ornaments from Hobby Lobby in that cranberry red color, which is the perfect match for Prairie Schooler. And I have maybe 20, 25 ornaments on it so far, but there's so many Prairie Schooler charts out there that I'm just going to keep stitching ornaments for the tree whenever I feel like it. So, and I think this guy is Prairie Schooler. He's the annual Santa from 2008. And I'm going to try to take the time to put my patterns back neatly so I don't have to do that after the video, because that's going to take a long time. The next one I have, this is Reindeer Games, and I got the kit from Country Sampler right after it came out, I think. It's from 2023. And I have been struggling with this one a little bit. So I started on this, and I'm sorry it's a wrinkled mess. This is on 40 count Vintage Country Mocha, and I had it in a Q-snap because this was still, I was still new to 40 count at the time, and I wasn't used to doing the sewing method on 40, so I was using a Q-snap. Now I can do 40 count in hand, but it wasn't that one that I started on. It was this one that I started on. I messed up on the Santa's coat, and his coat is missing one row of stitching, so I don't think it's gonna matter, but it bothers me, so I'm torn on whether or not I want to take out all of this or if I just need to get over it. But I've only done those two from the chart. There is still this one down here to do, but I would like to finish them into the ornaments. I have all the wood pieces from Chantel's 141, the rickrack, the twine. Got it all. I just need to do it. But you know, when you make a mistake on something, it makes you not want to work on it. Next, this is a sampler. Let me switch back, hang on. That's my lunch today. I'm still trying to get rid of the holiday weight. This is Jessie Ormiston, Hands Across the Sea. I believe it's from the red box last year. All Things Bright and Beautiful. And this was the chart that I saw in it that immediately caught my eye because the colors are so bright and pretty. And I am doing it on 36 count Black Swan by Fox and Rabbit with all the called for 103s. And it's just so freaking pretty. I only worked on it for one day last year, and I really need to go back, and I'm not in my sampler era at the moment, but eventually I'm sure the bug will hit and I will want to get back into them. So that's Jessie Ormiston. Come on. I'm throwing stuff on the floor, and I hope when it lands it's not blowing people's eardrums. Okay, last March I did a stitch along with Shady Grove Stitcher, and by that I mean I did it for like 2.5 months and then I abandoned Emily. So by May, I think I suddenly just had this urge to quilt, and so I set aside all the cross stitch for a little bit, and for like 3 months I just quilted. And Emily, she got this thing finished. So if you want to see it finished, go see Shady Grove Stitcher on YouTube. Hers is all in green and it looks fabulous. And she even has it framed, I think. So that's a Hobby House press pattern. And let me switch back. This is how much I got done. And I am stitching it on Winter White 40 count by Seraphim with Cranberry Gloriana silk. It's a really, really pretty red. And I was going to go ahead and stitch the companion piece I thought I had also bought Prancer, but maybe not. It's probably just as well. But really love that red. I'll get back to it at some point. I hope. I'm a real big fan of quick finishes, and so the ones that take longer, I peter out on. Okay, so my next one, I'm calling it a WIP, even though I don't have anything currently in progress on it. It's a series called Glitter Village by Country Cottage Needleworks. And last month, now I've had the whole kit for a couple of years. I've had all the thread, I've had all the squares of linen cut, 32 count Belfast raw silver, so it's got that sparkle to it. I mean, I even like zigzagged the edges, everything's ready, and it's just sat. And so last month I decided I'm going to stitch one. So I did stitch the church. And then instead of putting it away, I just went ahead and put it into a plastic sleeve, figuring next time I want to work on it, I have all the pieces ready to go. So I don't know if I'll stitch the whole series, but I would like to make sure that linen doesn't go to waste, especially because I already cut it. On that same note, I've also been working on Big City Christmas by Country Cottage Needleworks, and this one I have been much more successful on because I have finished 5. Yeah, 5. And it's been an ongoing stitch for a couple of years. I did finish, much to my excitement. I didn't realize I had this completely finished and just sitting in the bag. So I did finish the hotel. I need to redo the French knots for his eyes because he looks like he's concussed. Like he blew out a pupil. I'm just not good at French knots. And usually I'll try to do beads if I can, but the beads I had were too big to do them as eyes. So I've got 2 more pieces of linen in here to stitch the remaining 2 patterns. I have the restaurant, and I still need to do the music hall with the little Rockette dancers. And then after that, I will have completed the whole set. I'm finishing them as little pillow ornaments. And they're just fun. I'm using 32 count Belfast flax. The pattern calls for 32 count Witchell, I think lamb's wool, and I hate Witchell, the higher count of Witchell. I guess it's what you call a higher count. 32 count Witchell. It's so stiff. I don't like it. And I stitched 1 on it, and by the time I finished it, like my DMC and thread, I guess it was all the thread, it was just fraying as I was pulling it through the fabric, and then it would break. So I was not a happy camper. So I switched to flax, and that's a lot easier to stitch. And so last July 4th, I started Stars and Stripes with Emily at Shady Grove Stitcher. She has finished Stars, and hers is amazing. And I stitched on it one day, July 4th, and that was it. So let me show you what I've got. That is one day of stitching. I'm doing it on the called for, and I don't remember what the called for was. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know, y'all. I think it's Graham Cracker, 40 count Graham Cracker by Wabi Sabi, but I don't remember. I do still really like it. I love the red barn, and the colors, I do still want to make it. I'm just not into patriotic stitching at the moment. I also think that day I had been drinking because it was a holiday, so I did not get much done. Next up, I think everyone has seen Winter Moon. I have come pretty far on this one, actually. I just lost my steam. So I'm using all the called for, which is 36 count salt bush, all the threads. That house with all the color changes, I think that's what's got me, I don't know, can't get motivated, I guess. It's a lot. I like to just have one color thread and go, so. But it's worth it. I love Plum Street, and she usually makes you work for it, so it's always worth it to finish it. But hopefully, I don't expect it to be done this year unless I just get a wild hair, but one day I'd like to have it framed. It's really pretty. This next one is another Plum Street. This was a Farm Girl Dry Goods exclusive, I think, and it came with a piece of her linen 36 count Old Amana. Again, I stitched one day on this. And that is all I have. It's really pretty. I love the colors. Would like to see more done on it at some point. Chart is really big, which is nice, so I can see all of the symbols really well. And oh look, it's got color and cotton thread. I think I forgot about that. I'm kind of new to stitching with color and cotton, but I really am finding that I like it a lot. And I also like that you get 8 yards on a skein instead of the usual 5. So it goes a lot farther that way. And I have all my DMC. I like to use Lori Holt's Farm Fresh egg. Are they called egg drops? I don't remember. But I like to keep all my DMC on those. And drink some of this shake. I hit the wrong button. I didn't pause it. Okay, now I'm really... Okay. This next one is Teresa Kogut's Hello Halloween sampler. I'm doing the cover chart. And it came out couple of years ago, 2021. That's not a couple of years ago anymore. That's 5 years ago. Oh my gosh. At the time when I started this, it was March 2023, and I was not really stitching on 36 count yet. I tried. I bought the called for fabric. I laid it out, and I immediately was like, I can't do this. So I ended up getting the 28 count called for. It's by XG Designs. It's called Old Linen. That's what I have completed. I'm doing 2/2. I really do like it, and I do want to finish it. But when I started it March 2023, and I literally just spent like 6 solid days working on it. And I think I got it done all the way down to here. And only a couple of times after that have I picked it up. I did not work on it at all in 2025. I'm going to switch my camera so y'all can see it better. And up here, I had a skein. I ran out of my Colonial Copper Classic Colorworks and I had to start a new skein, and you can totally see there's quite a difference. And I don't know if I want to pull that out and redo it up here. I might. I love the cats. And thank goodness that the background on this isn't all fill. I would have died. Got one witch, and then down at the bottom there's a huge cat and a house and a moon. I would like to get this finished and framed someday. I just kind of lost steam. 2023 was a really hard year for me because we were trying to build our house and we literally like got nothing done because of weather delays and communication issues. So this one I wouldn't say has a negative connotation when I look at it, but it takes time for me to get over stuff like that and stop associating negative events with tangible items. This is another one. I started this around Christmas last month. I traumatized myself. This is Merry Little Christmas by Shakespeare's Peddler, and I have the punch needle and cross stitch magazine that it came out first in the magazine a few years ago. So I don't have the pattern photo. Let me see if I can. Let me grab one real quick. So this is what the pattern photo looks like. And I don't remember the linen that was called for, but I didn't have it, and I decided to substitute something. I don't know what this is. It might be R&R Creek Bed Brown, but I'm not sure. And I started with the text, and then I started putting in some of the motifs and realized I really don't like it. It was really muted and not at all what I thought it would be. So I ended up pulling out what I had done and re-picking my thread colors. I think these three are part of the called for, but I am going to put the motifs in using some slightly more exciting colors. Again, I think it's my linen choice that screwed me up. So I just went and picked pretty pinks and a brighter red. And I have just kind of shelved it for now. I don't know when I'll get back to it, but it was just going to be a little pillow, something small and simple. And it was one of those patterns that I had had in my mind for a long time, and I had never started it, and I needed to just get it started. So it's waiting for me. Oh, and I guess I need to take that picture off the screen. All right, I have another patriotic start. This is Grand Old Flag 2 by With Thy Needle and Thread. This is what I have. I finished one, and I wanted to make sure that the other two were going to fit on this length of scrap linen. I don't remember what it is that I pulled for it. I'm trying to be better about writing that down, but this is what I've got. They will all fit. I just need to feel the urge to stitch patriotic and get back to it. And there's only 2 thread colors, I think, right? Oh, there's a gray. I don't know where my gray went. 3023 DMC. So there's 3 colors that you need for this. So it's really economical if you're looking for an efficient, inexpensive, patriotic stitch. This next one, oops, this was a restart for me. I had started it, I think April 2023, on 32 count, and later that year I think I started 36 count and realized 36 count is where my heart is, and so I just I didn't want to work on it, and so I did end up rehoming what I had started on 32 count, and then I restarted the chart on 36. It's still the called for, which is Hog Bristle. No, is it Hog Bristle? Up in the Attic by Fox and Rabbit. And that's what I have. So I tried to start somewhere different that I had not stitched before when I restarted it. So I started at the bottom. I guess I must have started bottom center-ish. Just so it would be more exciting when I restarted it. You know, I could re-stitch something I hadn't stitched yet. But that only got maybe 2 days of love. I guess it would have been this past April. I save it for when we take our vacations to Galveston. There's a nice hotel there that we like to stay at, and they have a full bar, and I just sit at the bar and order the whole menu over the course of 2 days and sit there with my cross stitch. I'm sure it looks really weird. So that's This Joyous Season by Plum Street. This next one, this is the Early American series from Little House. I have all of the patterns, and I have stitched one. I have stitched Betsy Ross, and I have started Martha Washington. And this was another one that I messed up on. I had to unpick and then restitch. So it is all correct now, but I think after that I was kind of done with it. So I do still want to stitch the series. I had imagined having like a whole bowl of, oops, I opened the wrong thing. Hold on. I wanted to have a whole bowl of these patriotic patterns, and what they are historical figures in America. And I think it's really neat because, well, first of all, I love history. I love reading about it. I love learning in general. So anytime I work on it, you know, like I know I'm going to be sitting there wanting to read about this person. I'll be on Wikipedia, just learning about what I can. And so I thought that was really neat. It's like a free history lesson combined with cross stitch. So I'll get back to Martha at some point. And Abigail Adams is really cute too. I'm stitching it on 36 count antique lace by Seraphim with all the called for, and I'm pretty sure what happened when I was stitching on 32 count, I would buy 2 of everything because I was doing 2/2, and I thought, oh, I won't have enough thread, so I need to buy 2 skeins of everything, which is probably why I ended up with so much thread. But that's why there's so much thread in my bag. Let me see if I can put this back neatly so I can see what it is. All right. Sorry. I'm trying to put them down gently. My next project I started last month. This was another one. I've seen a lot of people stitch Seasons of the Heart by With Thy Needle and Thread. And every time someone holds it up, I'm like, I need to start it. So last month, that is what I did. I started the winter chart on 40 count Winter Brew by R&R, which is one of my favorites. And I'll change my camera here. What I am doing for the labels, instead of making my own, I found an Etsy shop called, I think it's Tiny Cactus. And she's also on Instagram as Hello Tiny Cactus. I ordered these from her. She's got a laser that cuts wood, and I'm going to ask Jake if he'll paint these for me because he enjoys painting. So have him paint it black and then do the letters white, just like the picture, and then attach it to the pillows once I'm done. And that way I don't have to go through and make. I saw that and I was like, ooh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So it's like, I have it, it's there, I can do it. I just need to settle down and do it. So that was just one night of stitching. But at least I got it started. Next, let's see. This is another one that I worked on last month. Emily at Shady Grove Stitcher is doing Hometown Holiday. Her plan is to have a bunch of ornaments for her Christmas tree this year. And I have had a couple of the ornaments in my stash for a long time and had never started them. So I did pick one out. I am drawn naturally to mailmen, post office, just mail carriers. My mom's father was a mailman for like 40 years, and I think maybe it's nostalgic for me. But I figure I'll start on the post office because I am at the post office like twice a week, every week. So I guess hey, that's pretty familiar. I'm going to do the post office first. And again, that was one night of stitching. But at least I got it started. Next is, oh, this one's cute. So y'all know I have dachshunds. I'm like stupid over our dogs. But when this came out at market last year, oh my gosh, it was my favorite chart release. And as soon as I got it, I started it. And I am doing it on the called for, which is 36 count Hemingway by Needle and Flax. It's so freaking adorable. It's gonna be, I think I'm gonna frame it. Well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I only worked on it for a couple of days and then I got distracted by something else, as it usually happens that way. But I do really want to stitch it because now that I've taken down all my Christmas, I got a few Dachshund decor items for Christmas, and now right by our dining table in the corner we have what I'm calling the weenie corner, and I put all my Dachshund cross stitch over there, and it needs a little bit more, so I'm going to work on adding to it as I find Dachshund cross stitch designs that I haven't done, and this will be up with it. So we'll see. Gotta stitch all the Dachshund stuff. Gotta buy all the Dachshund stuff. This is a chart. Promos Cottage very kindly sent me their stitching patterns when they came out last year, and I love them so much. So this is stitching Quaker. It's the only one that I've started. I'm very close to finishing it too. They even sent me the linen for it. So this is 32 count light ash gray, and they sent me all the color and cotton to do all of the charts. And I don't have a whole lot more to go on this. I just have to do some fill at the top and the hoop down here and some back stitching. And then I had bought a piece, it was a finishing piece from Paisleys and Polka Dots of I think it's a big wooden spool, and honestly I don't even remember what it looks like anymore. But I really want to finish this and get the wood piece painted because I need this on display where I can see it every day. I think it's adorable. And they did such a good job with their stitching patterns. Here's another one, the stitching quilt. I need to do that one too. Oh, They are so creative. All right. Another Christmas start. Now this one I really, really love, and I loved it so much that I bought all the thread for it twice. That is Santa Stops Here by With Thy Needle and Thread. I even bought the beads for it twice. Like, I am never ever going to use all of these beads. But in December, I think it was December, early December, maybe it was late November, I did actually pull it out and get it started, and I'm very happy with what I managed to get done, because I only worked on it for a couple of days. I just need to, so I did the border outline, nailed it, didn't have a mistake. That was very nice, very exciting. So I was encouraged to keep going, and I got the tree and Santa and part of the snowman done. The next thing I need to do is kind of get the bones of the house going, because that's going to be a labor of love. But one day this will be a framed finish out on display on my picture ledge. And here are all the threads. As you can see, I have plenty. And these teeny tiny beads. There's like 1,000 in there, and I bought 2 of them. Which is probably why I started Christmas Swan, because I figured, oh hey, I have the beads, I should use the beads. Next is, this is a Patriotic one, Blue Skin by Plum Street. This was another start last summer. I had purchased the kit from Country Sampler, so I have the backing fabric and all the thread. The linen they used was 36 count saltbush. I didn't get a whole lot done on him, but I did get George stitched in the year, and I kind of got Blue Skin started. But I do really like this one. It is going to be 123 by 121. Not huge, but nothing to thumb your nose at. And I do really like stitching on that, so maybe I will work on that this year. This next one is a sampler. Well, I don't know if you would call it a sampler. It's an antique reproduction. I guess it's only a sampler if it's got an alphabet. But I saw this on 123 Stitch, and I loved the thread colors. And that was what mainly drew me to it. Now I think I'm using a Lakeside linen for it, but I can't remember the name of it. These are the threads. I loved the pinks and the greens. It's kind of pastel, but it's saturated. So I thought it was really pretty. So that's what I have done. I've done the border, which is tricky. If you do this one, it is not symmetrical. So make sure you're counting a lot and checking, because I did mess up somewhere down here and I had to pull out quite a bit, but I think it's all correct the way I left it. I don't like to leave mistakes in things because I won't remember. So before I put it away, I try to fix them. But really like this one. Quite a bit left to do on it, but at least I've got the bones of the border correct, and I have a guideline I can use when I pick it up again. This next one is actually really close to being finished. I don't know why I didn't just finish it. It's a little tiny Brenda Gervais chart, Strawberries and Stripes. And I was just going to make it into a little tiny ornament. I got very close to being finished with it. And it calls for Weeks Dye Works linen, the color linen. I'm pretty sure that's what I used, because I know I have a lot of that. And so my plan was to finish it in this little 3-inch hoop. Like I said, I don't have much more to go. I could finish it. I think I even substituted some colors out because I was missing a few. But I don't remember what. So I'm not doing the basket finish. I don't know where I would put that in my house, honestly. So I figure if I put it on a little hoop, I could tie a ribbon to it and hang it from like a cabinet knob. So that could be a very quick finish. My guess is probably patriotic stitching was over and I just wanted to start Halloween stitching. This next one is fun because of the colors. It's not something I would normally stitch either, but I was watching, I think I was on Instagram, and I saw Frizzy Lizzy Stitches shared her finish, and let me grab a picture of it because I just have the PDF. Okay, so it's called the Skipjack Sampler by Ardith Designs. And I think X-Stitch MD had done a thread conversion, so check her feed. I think she saved it to one of her story highlights. They used Roxy Floss, and I've never stitched with Roxy Floss, but I really do like it. And they're 8-yard skeins like Color and Cotton, so you get a lot of thread for your money. I'm so sorry if y'all can hear Coco snoring. I just lull her to sleep, I guess. I might have to poke her. Okay, so I did use their conversion, but when I was ordering the thread, I couldn't find, I think they were out of stock on some of them, so I'll just share on my other camera here what I ended up choosing. I did Espresso, Amaretto, Betty White, South Beach, Vitamin C. I think Vitamin C might have been my own choosing. Same for Lime Juice, I think. And then there's Wham Bam and Atlantic. So those are the thread colors. Oh, and it's just so fun and vibrant. It's so much fun to stitch with colors you love. So my fabric is actually called, it's not the called for, I don't think. It is I Lilac You a Lot by Fiberlicious, and it's 36 count. I ordered a fat quarter directly from them, and when it came, it had a little bit of green in it, which I wasn't expecting, so I kind of picked a corner that didn't have as much green in it, and I really love it. But there's a couple of really great purples from Fiber on a Whim. If you're interested in finding something like this, there's a lot of really pretty purple linens out there. But you can also still order it from Fiberlicious, I think. So this one, I worked on sitting on our side porch last year, right before the weather got really hot. And I'm hoping to do that again this year as soon as, well, I mean, I live in Texas, so every day is a different season. I never know what season we're going to be in any given day, but the next week or so is cold, and I don't think I'll be outside for it. But that is Skipjack Sampler. Really pretty. This next one, this was another one I worked on before I decided I was ready for Halloween stitching. I have to open it, sorry. This is another Brenda Summer Trio. Came out at Market last year, and I did not buy the Spring Trio. She came out with Spring and Summer at Market last year. I only bought Summer Trio because I thought I'm going to set myself up for success, and I'm going to start Summer Trio early. instead of trying to start spring trio, finish it before spring ended, because this would have been like last March. As you can see, it didn't work out. So I don't have a whole lot done. I have all the linen cut for it. And I think I'm using the called for, which is Spindrift by Cedar River, and it's 36 count. That's all I have, but I do have all the thread for it. I just love Brenda's patterns. And I want to finish them just like the cover photo with the rickrack. Be really cute. Really cute in a bowl. But I'm going to try to finish my winter ones first. And then I'll probably end up buying spring soon and trying to get that done. And then hopefully by the time I finish spring, I can finish summer, but we'll see. I tend to set really lofty goals for myself, and then I beat myself up when I don't meet them. Which is why this year I don't have any resolutions. One year my resolution was to drink more wine, and to this day I think that was the best resolution I have ever come up with. Every week I would go to the grocery store and I would go down the wine aisle and I would just be like, I'll have that one. Like, that's a pretty label. Or I've never tried a Sangiovese, so if you're looking for an achievable New Year's resolution, just try different wines every week. This next one was an exclusive to Hobby House, and I have kind of a story behind it. I pre-ordered it at the end of January last year, and it took forever and a day to get to my house. They did not have enough thread, and then I had also pre-ordered a piece of tabby cat linen, and then that would be in, but the thread for this would be out, and then they would get the thread in, but the linen would be out. And so it was this constant back and forth, like, hey, how's, the progress on my order going? And eventually I was like, just forget the tabby cat linen. Please just send me the chart and the kit. So by the time it finally got to my house, it was like April, the end of April. And my mood at that point had kind of soured a bit, and I had lost my excitement for the project because I was so frustrated. I do still want to make it. I do really like the colors. I don't have them with me because they're in the other room, but I'm using the 103s. I'm stitching on the called for, which is Salt Bush. And the other thing that happened was when I finally got it and I started it, I was stitching and I kept thinking, wow, this fabric's a lot darker than the pattern photo. Like, how strange that cameras photograph things so differently and then they look totally different in real life. And I got the top corner done and quite a few of these little colored motifs. And then I realized I was using 36 count Salt Bush by Fox and Rabbit, not 36 count Salt Ash. When I realized that, I thought, oh my God, no wonder I'm not really liking it. So I did scrap it and start over on the correct fabric. But yeah, that was kind of a horrifying moment after spending probably 4 hours on it, realizing that I had stitched it on the wrong fabric and it was not going to look anything like the cover. And even now the linen looks a little bit darker than the photograph, but I do still plan to finish it. Again, I'm not in my sampler era, so I'll get to it when I get to it. I know it's not going to go anywhere. So that's Catherine's Garden. This next one, this is the Lessons in Abecedarian Summer Schoolhouse series by With Thy Needle and Thread. And I have done the first three. No. I've done the first three, right? 1, 2, there's 5, I think, total. So I know I have the first 2. Then I have the third one. think what it is there's one chart that has two, there's one pattern with two charts in it. That's why I'm confused. So I do have this one finished. I'm using 36 count flax, I think, by Zweigart. That's kind of my go-to when I panic and I don't want to like commit to using a hand dyed. So I have started lesson number 3, which is this cute house with the flag. I love that. And then I just have lesson 4 left. And then there is, what is the deal with that anyway? There's a little strawberry pattern, a little teeny horn book, and a little strawberry pattern that you do on 28 count over 1. And at first I was like, no, I'm not going to do over 1 on 28 count. That sounds miserable. But now I'm like, I want the whole display. So I did end up ordering 28 count mushroom Lugana and cutting what I needed. I just haven't gotten to it yet. And this must be for lesson number 4. So I have everything ready. Really, really cute. Oh, here's the picture. So there's this little horn book, and then teeny tiny little strawberry, little bitty thing, so cute. So I've done this one, and this one. And I have this old antique desk, like an old wooden antique desk that I ordered, or I got it off Facebook Marketplace for like $35. But it's the old wooden style school desk. And I've always thought that this would be really cute displayed on it. Still plan to do it. Just need to buckle down. This next one was a birthday start for me last year. And I mean, I worked on it quite a bit, but by March I was maybe on to other things. So I do really need to get back to it. And I thought like, oh, maybe I'll pull it out for my birthday again this year, but my birthday is tomorrow and I honestly don't know what the day will hold. I know that I am going to my favorite Mexican restaurant where I will be having at least one margarita. So I don't know how much stitching I should do when I get home. Because usually I have one margarita and then I'm like, that was a really good margarita. I think I want another one. And let me tell you right now, future Carrie, that is not a good idea. Hopefully Jake sees this and edits it and reminds me tomorrow, do not order a second margarita. It's not a good idea. So this is what I have done. I am using, now I saw this on display at 3 Stitches in Houston. Well, I guess they're in spring, but I honestly had not really given it much thought until I saw theirs on display. I really loved the colors. And I think what it was the linen they used. I'm using all the called for colors, but the linen is Weeks Dye Works linen, the color linen. And I just thought it's so pretty on a lighter color linen. And so that was what kind of sold me. And so I did end up buying, I think I bought everything I needed from them. And I really love it. And I really want to work on it and get it finished. Because this is one of those things that can be out all year. And I don't have enough decor that's year-round. I think the most I tend to stitch is Halloween and Christmas. And Lord knows I have enough Halloween and Christmas stitching at this point. I need to get some more like all year round stitching done. Oh, sorry, that's the chart. Don't want to show the chart. My nose is running. I think I may be halfway through my bucket. I have no idea how many I've shown so far. The next one is Anton Ufendel, and I've loved this pattern for a long time, even way before I was stitching the more complicated higher counts. I think what drew me was the basket in the bottom center. I don't know what it is. I really like that basket. And it's funny because at the time when I first saw it and I was really thinking about buying the threads for it, I had sticker shock because the pattern I think is like $30. And then if you want to use soie d'Alger for it, well, we all know how much soie d'Alger is compared to DMC, and so I did not buy the materials for it. And then last year, of course, by the time last year rolled around, I mean, I was very familiar with the prices of things, and I did go ahead and let myself purchase the pattern. The thing I love about Nicola's patterns is she puts all this information and history about the person who stitched it, and to me that is just fascinating in itself. And even if I don't stitch something, I still buy the pattern because I want to learn about the person. I mean, Nicola puts a lot of work into her research on these stitchers, so even if you're not going to stitch it, I think it's really neat just to have out on your coffee table, you know, for people to look at. So my start on this, I'm using a Lakeside linen. I want to say it's buttercream. And I have a whole, is this a fat half? I think it's a fat half. So that's what I got done. And I was inspired by Audrey at Stitch Stitch Bead because she had developed a monthly stitching homework chart. So I kind of took her idea and photocopied the cover and then outlined 12 different sections, hoping that, hey, if I want to stitch it in a year, all I would have to do is stitch each of these sections once a month. And then every month you would do 3 border flowers. So I did get quite a bit done in the few days I did work on it. I think it's 36 count Lakeside buttercream. But it's really pretty. I'm glad that I'm finally working on it. It was just one of those patterns I never thought that I would be able to do. And maybe one day I will do her sister's. What's her sister's chart? There's 2 Ufendel charts. I don't remember the other one. And I'm using, I guess I must have found, I think on the Hands Across the Sea website, she has, oh, here it is. On the Hands Across the Sea website, she has the conversion for 103s. So that is what I ended up buying. I didn't get the Soie d'Alger, but there's not really much difference in price between the two, so I just went for the 103s. So if you are interested in that, you can take a screenshot of the 103s for it. I think the only one I couldn't get was F09. So I do have that one, but as for the rest, they're all the 103s. Okay, my next one, I started it after Christmas. I gotta open it again. These bags are really nice. The plastic is really thick. It is not going to tear like a Ziploc bag might over time. They're nice, thick plastic. And the zippers are nice too. So if you're interested in doing this, I do have an Amazon shop. If you go to my Instagram profile, I do have a link that takes you to everything I used to organize that cross-stitch closet. So this next pattern, Wonderful Life Pin Keep Drum by Stacy Nash. And my plan was I want to stitch it while I'm watching It's a Wonderful Life. And I didn't get a chance to watch it before Christmas, so I watched it after Christmas. And this is what I managed to stitch while I watched the movie. And I think I would really like to work on it every year while I watch the movie. And I had a lot of fun. It's on 36 count beige by Weeks Dye Works. And I had gotten the kit from Country Sampler, so I even have the fabric to put on top. It's a big drum, but I think it's going to be really cool. And I have all the threads. And while I was stitching it, I had a glass of Bailey's in honor of George Bailey. Like, I had a whole thing going until I spilled it, but I didn't get it on my fabric. It was just sad because that was all the Baileys I had. So I'll get back to that one at some point. I need to let Ginger in the room. Oh, Ginger pushed her way in. Ginger is here. You want to come say hi? Everybody thinks you're just lovely. Come here. Come here. You're gonna have to help me here. Here she is. She's so sweet. Her bark box came earlier, so she had a good time running around with her ice cream scoops. I guess she's gonna walk around my table. That's fine. I can't hold her and show stuff. Okay, so this one is Christmas Swan. Here's the beads from Santa Stops Here. I only worked on this for one day. I don't even have the threads with it. I don't know what happened. I know they're somewhere. I know I have them. But this is all I got done. Let's see. It's probably on... It might be 40 count Winter's Brew. Those holes look pretty small. But yes, I do plan on finishing that at some point as well. It's the only swan pattern of hers that I have. Okay, this next one, Pink House Sampler by Plum Street. I worked on this some last year. I'm using 36 count Old Mushroom by XU Designs, which is one of my favorite fabrics. I really love it. And I've gotten quite a bit done on it. And I think the reason I'm stalled out a little bit on it is because I'm stitching it in honor of I believe my second great grandmother. Her name was Louise Ferris Miller, and she held the world record for number of multiple births at one point, like worldwide. She made national headlines in the 1890s, and in less than 9 years, she gave birth to 17 children. So she had 3 sets of triplets, 3 sets of twins, and 2 single births. Many did not survive more than 6 months, unfortunately. But I was researching her, and it's funny because the reason I figured out it certainly was my ancestor was because she gave her children very unique, strange names, like Florizel. And that was how we knew that this is the Louisa Miller in our family tree. So in the articles that I found online, some of them referred to her as Louise Avery. And my mom says she always knew her maiden name to be Ferris, so we don't know where the name Avery comes from. So, you know, is her name Louise Avery Miller? Is her name Louise Ferris Miller? So I ended up getting on the New York State Department of Health's website and figuring out, oh, you gonna walk across it? Thank you. I got on their website and I decided I'm gonna track down her death certificate because we know what day she died, we know where she died, we even know where she's buried, but I've emailed the cemetery and called the cemetery, and they are kind of known for ignoring people. So the cemetery is up in Yonkers, which is outside of New York City. And I just want to know what name is on her headstone. So is the name Avery, you know, from her baptism name? Like, I think Catholic baptism, is it something like that? Like they get like a Catholic name given to them? I don't know. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know. But anyway, New York State Department of Health, I sent them a check for like 20 bucks, whatever it was that I had to pay, and it still has not been cashed, and their website says it could take up to 8 months to hear back, and I mailed that check the first week of June. So I don't know if I'm going to hear back. I'm kind of getting impatient. I really, really want to know more about this woman, because one of the newspaper articles mentioned her great aunt who gave birth to 2 sets of quintuplets. She died with the second set, and to console himself, her husband married her sister, who then gave him 3 sets of twins in rapid succession. So we have multiples that run in our family, and we never knew where that came from. Now we know. I am a twin myself, so I have a twin brother. And my dad's biological father was a twin. So it runs on both sides. I'm afraid if I ever get pregnant, I'm going to have a litter, and I don't want to have octuplets. So very nervous about getting pregnant. But anyway, that is Pink House Sampler. I still want to work on it. I want to get lost again in the ancestry research and get some questions answered. All right, this next one is a Ghoultide welcome to thee. And if you were following along last September, I kind of dedicated the month of September to a Ghoultide welcome. I wanted to see if I could finish it, or at least get it close to being finished. I did really, really well. Very proud of. No, she's licking my protein shake. I was gonna drink that. All right, so I'm gonna show y'all what I have. Look at how close it is. Basically, all I have left to do is fill. I forgot I finished the house. All I have to do is fill in the white and the grass, and then there's some over one here, and then of course the border, but the border is really pretty easy. So that should be a finish this year. Framed. No, now she's Ginger. Come here. Come here. Do you want to get down on the ground? It's all DMC. What am I stitching it on? Oh, I'm stitching it on 36 count Prairie Grass by Seraphim, which I think is really pretty. There's a little bit of green modeling in it, but it's 36 count, all DMC. I do have mistakes over here in the flower basket. I had to add another row of stitching at the bottom of the vase so it would touch the ground. Otherwise it was going to be floating. But really, really proud of my progress on that one. So put that one away. I'm going to put Ginger on the floor. Hopefully she takes it well. Get in your little pocket. Jake got me for Christmas, he got me a heated foot warmer, and it's like a heating pad for your feet, but it's a pouch that you put your feet in, and it's really nice, and I love it. Do you have to walk on that? Ginger, please don't. Anyway, it's the perfect size for a small dog, especially a dachshund, so I bought one for Ginger, and she loves it, but I was hoping she would get in it. Whiskey just walked in. Okay, so my next project is Consider the Lilies by Heartstring Samplery. I started this on Leap Day 2024. The last leap year was 2024. And my plan was to have it finished by the next Leap Day, which is 2028. I love this project. I am using 36 count winter brew. When in doubt, just use winter brew. Oh good, she found her pocket. She's working on it. Thank goodness. She's exhausting, y'all. It's just like having a toddler, I swear. Okay, I'm gonna hold it up because it's really big. So that's what I've gotten finished. I've really enjoyed working on it. I did the border outline and I nailed it on the first try, which was such a relief. Let's see if I can get it sort of in one picture or one frame here. So that's what I have finished. And I really do want to work on this one more. I don't think it got any love in 2025, but I really enjoy all of the motifs in it. I'm not a super religious person, but the verse is from the Bible, and it really did kind of speak to me at the time because we were building our house and I was under so much stress, and every day I would wake up and I would look outside to see if anyone was working on our house because we were living with my parents next door. And it was just taking forever, and I would just ruminate on the whole thing and like, why isn't anyone working today? You know, when are we going to get to move out? Like, I want to finish this build. And the verse spoke to me because it says, consider the lilies of the field, they neither toil nor spin. And what that means is to just go with the flow, stop worrying, just leave it be. It is what it is. And so that brought me a sense of comfort, and that is kind of the reason why I decided to start the project, is to try to get through the constant up and down and disappointments and excitement with a home build. So I do really want to work on this one. I hope I finish it by the next leap day, but if I don't, then I'll forgive myself. Really, really cool. All right, let's see what else I've got here. I have, this is going to be a restart, and there are people that are going to be yelling at me when I hold this up. This is Caroline Amelia trowel. I started it a couple of years ago. It did not get any love in 2025, and that is because I was stitching it on 32 count with 2 threads, and it's just not my jam anymore. And I have no motivation to work on it because it's not on 36 count. It is on a fabric that I love. Again, that is Old Mushroom by XQ. 2/2. I'm using all the called for threads. I know I have a lot done. I even have, like, I think the whole house is, I think I might have to fill in the windows, yeah. But the whole house is just about finished. I just really want to stitch it again in 36 count. But this was kind of like the first reproduction pattern that I ever attempted. I do have someone who's interested in it, so I'm probably going to go ahead and ship this to her pretty soon. But I'll even send this a needle. So, Kim, it's coming your way. And I'll probably use the same fabric just to restart it. Just, I want 36 count or even 40. That would be really nice to have framed and on my picture ledge. Okay, so early last year, I really got into the sampler stuff for kind of a short period. But I was wanting to do like a one color sampler wall in red. So I started picking up some Hands Across the Sea samplers sampler patterns that I liked, that I thought I could do quickly and easily. And I got a lot done, but there's more stitching in these than you think. I'm using the 103. This is number 499. I don't think I had any issues with stitching it. I don't think I had very many mistakes that I didn't have to like go back and fix. The fabric, I believe it's 36 count Sleeping Bear by Needle and Flax. I do like it. I like the shape of it. I think it would be really pretty in a nice square frame. So next time I want to stitch with one color and just kind of do some mindless stitching. It's not that complicated. Just have to feel like doing it. I'm going to take a drink here in a minute. Okay. This next one is a Halloween chart called Witches of Salem by the Primitive Hair. The Primitive Hair, which I now get mixed up with the Primitive Needle, and they're not the same. The Primitive Hair. Let's see what I got done on this one. I think I only worked on this, yeah, one night. I got the title done, Witches of Salem. I have kind of a darkness about me when it comes to Halloween. If y'all have seen my Lizzie Borden stitch, that probably wouldn't surprise you. I am using, it looks like all the called for, that's a variegated, that must be, I think that might be Carriage Black. But I like stitching witch stuff, but if it's a reference to the Salem witch trials, I don't necessarily want to stitch the cutesy stuff that makes light of it. Totally cool with people who do stitch the cute stuff. I just have a more serious tone, I guess, when it comes to that thing. I mean, it was a horrible time in human history, and so I saw this chart and I thought, well, those are the victims, you know, this is a good way to honor those people, and it's a little grotesque with the noose and everything. I don't know what I want to do about that, but once I get the top part done and it's just text, I think it'll go a lot faster. And then of course, you know, the tree and everything, that might be a lot of stitching. But someday we're hoping to visit Salem and go see, like that looks like, reminds me of the House of the Seven Gables, but I'm not sure if that is. So, don't remember the linen I'm using. It's definitely a 36 count. I love the Primitive Hair. She does a great job on historical charts. This next one, I think I'm gonna retire, or I'm gonna like abandon it. I might just put the chart up with the linen tucked into it, because again, I started it a couple of years ago. This is not Forgotten Farm. The Reverend Gordon Squash Bottom. I've seen a lot of you stitch this. I am stitching mine on 36 count Creek Bed Brown by R&R. And this is what I have. I'm almost done. I guess I just was like, I'm gonna start this, and then I started it, and then I was like, Someday I would like to stitch it, but it's not really at the top of my list anymore, and so I'm thinking I'm just gonna tuck this in with the pattern. It calls for all DMC, but I can just put the threads back into my stash and get better use out of them until I want to actually work on this. So I'm gonna retire it and leave it out of the bag and just put it all back into my stash. This next one, this is another Halloween. This is Scary Sampler by Heartstring Samplery. And I loved this one when it came out, specifically because of the little dog bones in the human skeleton. And I know that's kind of weird, but I don't know. I thought it was funny, but also, I don't know, just kind of morbid. And it has some really interesting references to pop culture. So the quote on the pattern is from Charles Dickens' Bleak House. And then the number 42 is a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The house is a reference to Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. The figure in the window, which is right here, that is a reference to Kathy's ghost in Wuthering Heights. And then the human and dog skeletons are a reference to The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. I'm reading the back of this, by the way. This is not coming from my memory. The willow tree is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The snake / sandworm, which is up here kind of on the sidewalk, that is from Beetlejuice. The flock of pterosaurs in the sky is Jurassic Park 3. Now, she did release, I think somewhere out there is a alternate chart that I think makes those into bats, and I think that's what I would do, because I don't really, Jurassic Park doesn't do it for me. The alien head seed pods in the border are from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I've never seen that, so I'm not really into sci-fi, honestly. I like horror literature more. I'll probably keep the border as is. And then the moon is actually the Death Star from Star Wars. I'm going to make that into just a moon. The roach on the tree is from Men in Black. I don't do roaches, so I don't know if I'm going to do that either. I might leave that out. The flowers in the border are from Stranger Things. They're Demogorgon heads. And then the series of numbers that you see above the house are from Lost. The shovel in the hand on the grass is from the X-Files. The seahorse on the headstone is from Fringe. The Weeping Angel statue is from Doctor Who. And the black cat is from Star Trek, Season 2, Episode 7. Don't know what that is, but I was totally into it. I didn't even know that they were Easter eggs until I got the pattern and I looked at it, because I was like, well, that is so cool. I want to stitch that, so I'm working on it. And I'll show y'all what I have so far. This is on 36 count prairie grass. I got quite a bit done last fall. I think when I picked it up, I had only done these a little bit of the border in the cemetery here. So I went ahead and I outlined all the grass, and then I started on the house, and I did the snake and the walkway and the shovel in the hand. I think it's just fun. So I'm gonna keep up with it. I'm gonna give it some love, I think, this year. I don't know when I'll finish it, but it's a lot of stitching. Alright, the next one I have is a Plum Street. This one I started last fall after having the chart for a while. A lot of people were working on it, and I too wanted to work on it. So it is the Gather In by Plum Street, and I'm really happy with the amount of progress I made. What is the fabric? Oh, I think it's One More Reproduction by Bestitch Me, 36 count. So I started here, I think, the edge of the roof, and I worked my way up, down, and I outlined the roof, outlined the house, and just got it ready to be filled in, and then I kind of moved on to the horse and the wagon. And there's over one in the pattern. I think though, well, I've seen people, instead of doing the over one in the grass, they just added more pumpkins. I like that idea, so I'm probably going to do that. And then I don't think I'm going to put Edna, proprietress of the Gather In. I think I'll just put my name and call it good. But I've always really liked this one. And I stitch a lot of Halloween, but I don't have a whole lot of fall in my displays, so I'm going to try to fix that this year. But it's pretty, and I love the variegation in the orange. So there's that. This is the monthly weigh-in by Stitching with the Housewives. I have done June, July, well, all the way through December. And then I had a very nice viewer message me and offer to stitch me the February chart because I had the kit, but I don't like stitching Valentine's. So she very kindly stitched that for me. Let's see. It's kind of sad what I have so far. That's for January. I'm stitching on 28, is it 28 count? 28 count mushroom Lugana. There's a lot of stitching in these and it's deceiving, especially when you get to the scale and that snowman. I mean, there's a lot of fill. And I think that's just, I wanted to have January done so that December doesn't have to sit out for an extra month, but now it's looking like February is going to be out until the end of time because I haven't stitched March, April, or May. But I do want to finish them. I mean, I have the scale all painted and on display. It's really cute. And I do have a lot done. So one of these days when I need something easy, I'll just pick this up. My next one, this is French woolens, and it cracked me up. I love these sheep. I don't know what it is. I just thought it was funny. Don't have a whole lot to show on it. I'm using the called for, which is Lakeside Vintage Exemplar. And that was probably one day of stitching. And I think what I did, I don't know why I started it on the linen where I started it. Because I did go back and like measure. It's gonna fit, but there's not gonna be a whole lot of margin at the bottom. So that's probably why I put it away. You know, it'll work, but that was kind of, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I did that. Goodness. Not in a hurry on that one. This next one, it's actually not a WIP, but I've been trying to start it for like a year, and I refuse to unkit it and take it out of the bag and put it away. And that is The Maker and Mender by With Thy Needle and Thread. And I think I saw Sully Stitches finish hers, and I feel like the pattern covers just never do the project justice. So when I saw hers, I was immediately like, yes. So I think I'm doing it on Dolly Madison by Needle and Flax, and it's ready to go. I just haven't actually started it, so soon. I really want to. You know, I cut the linen and everything, which means like I have to do it, right? This next one is close to being finished too. and that is the Salem Sisters Apothecary. I even have the wood piece for it that their dad made. I was one of the lucky ones that was able to grab one before they sold out. His stuff usually sells out in less than 2 minutes, so you've got to be like on it. I decided to be a little different. This is an XU fabric. I think it's called Witch's Brew, and it's a 36 count. So I'm using Weeks Dye Works Coal for the thread, which is the called for, and then I just thought, hey, it'd be kind of cool if, you know, I used one of these really interesting Halloween fabrics I have. So, like I said, I'm pretty close to being done. I don't have a whole lot left, so maybe this year I can get that done. We'll see. I also have the Jack-o'-lantern Jubilee by With Thy Needle and Thread. I just had like this horrifying thought, like, am I recording? Okay, good. Yeah, it's still going. Wouldn't that be awful? So I have done a couple of these. I've done the Ghosts and Goblins on the back. I've done that one, and I have done Trick or Treat, and well, she's not even pictured on the... I've done Broomhilda. She's the little teeny witch. I've done that one. That one only took a day, if you're looking for a quick one. She's fast. So these I'm stitching on 36 count Grandpa's Sleeve by XU. I don't have any in progress, but I do want to finish the series, so they're ready to go. I've even labeled what chart goes with each piece of linen. So, but it's a really interesting fabric. And what I'm doing is I'm using the back side of it because the front is more saturated and the white thread doesn't show up as well. I did switch the white thread for B5200, which helps, but if you're thinking of using this fabric, I'd recommend using the back of it. It's just a fun linen for a Halloween project. The next one, I have another fall pattern that I could keep out after Halloween. This is Where the Bittersweet Blooms by Brenda Gervais. And again, it's another one of those charts that you think isn't that much stitching, but it is a lot of stitching. I thought, yeah, I'll just knock this one out. And then I was humbled. So I've almost got the pumpkin done. The bird beak, I think I was missing that thread color. I've got to find it. And then oddly enough, I messed up on my border and it's like one stitch too short. I don't know, y'all. Like it worked out over here and then I came over here and I was like, well, it still lines up, but it's still wrong. So I'm just going to make it work. I'm not going to redo it or try to figure it out. But I think that'd be really cute in a frame in the kitchen maybe for next year. This is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow, and I'm stitching all the blocks individually and turning them into little pillows for a tiered tray display. I have finished the first 5, and I'm thinking I am just going to finish the text, They Would Envy Our Delight, In Our Graves by Glowworm Night, just these 2, or at least prioritize them, because the text in this chart comes from a poem. I think the author was Thomas Beddoes. You can Google it and see, but it does kind of, I think the second verse, or maybe the verse before it, makes it make more sense, like why is there a shipwreck block? Oh, because there's a shipwreck in the poem. It's kind of odd that it's not referenced in the chart, the poem itself, but you know, of course I'm stitching these things and I'm wondering like, why is this, what does this mean? You know, so then I have to stop and like Google. This is quite wrinkly, so I apologize. But I'm using 36 count Oaken by Picture This Plus, and that is what I have gotten done on that. I was not planning on stitching the witches that are in the center of the pattern. I think that's something that I could stitch and have it stand on its own. It wouldn't need to be a part of the display, but not a priority for me. I really want to do these two, and then I just love the train block. So we'll see if I work on that this year. It calls for a lot of thread too. All this DMC, a lot of thread, but it's fun. All right, my next one, I started this a couple of years ago, and I worked on it for a couple of days, and then it just kind of got shelved, but I love it, and I still want to make it. It is called Dog's Declaration by Ink Circles, and I thought it was funny because if y'all know our dog Whiskey, this is him to a T. It's all DMC, so very simple. And I am using, I think it's 36 count Tyco by Picture This Plus. So let me show y'all. That's what I've got so far. I think it's going to be really cute, and I do really enjoy stitching it with all the little motifs. It does keep you from getting bored. And you know, every time I get to a little dog, I'm all excited, like, oh, we get to stitch a little dog. Squirrels, birds, just fun, different. So one day I would like that framed. I'm getting close to the bottom. There's still quite a few though. This next one I worked on a little bit this past year. I always hear Frank Sinatra when I read it, and I love Frank. I'm using all the called for. So I have the Gloriana Silks and the DMC Etoile, which is surprisingly very pleasant to stitch with. And I'm stitching it on 36 count Fiber on a Whim, Cream and Sugar. Got quite a bit finished. This year I did the whole bottom border bone, and then I started filling in the bottom border. So let's get a close up. It's gonna be so pretty one day framed and on display. I love it. I have a mistake up here. It didn't want to, I don't know what I did. I think the mistake is actually up top, and then when I put the bottom border in, I got up here and I was like, that's not where it's supposed to be, but you can't tell, so I'm not going to worry about it. But that's been a couple of years in the making, and I usually work on it around Christmas, so we'll see if this year the Christmas stitching bug hits me a little earlier. I would like to have Christmas stitched during the year, but I guess I'm just not really in the mood sometimes. I like to stitch in season more. This next one was another start this year. Everybody has seen this, and Rudolph. Lori Holt stitched it in green. I too am stitching it in green. I am using Gloriana Tanager Green, which is also used in the last WIP I just showed, the Bells of Christmas. Really nice green. And this is, I wrote it down, Seraphim 40 count Moon Shadow. And that actually, I did all of that stitching in one go. And I thought the deer would take a lot longer, but it really wasn't that bad. So most of the stitching is up top, so now I just have to go through and add the names and the border, and it's done. So happy with the start I got on it, and I think it'll be a quick finish this year. And I'm just going to make it into a little pillow like the cover. I gotta take a drink. Okay. Another thing I had to start when I saw it, Nativity Tiny Town. I am gonna make it into a drum, and I already have the piece that I want the drum to sit on once it's finished. This is from the name of the shop? It's from Etsy. It's a woodcut laser shop. It shipped just like this, already stained and assembled, which was nice. Branco LLC on Etsy. There, finally. A couple of floss tubes back, I linked to it, I think in the description box. BRANCO LLC. So I think I'm going to talk to them. If I ever make another drum from Heart and Hand, I'm going to ask them to do more stands that complement the chart, because this was just too perfect. And I would like to give it to my mom for her birthday in March, if I can finish it in time. And since I was stitching the Primrose Cottage Nativity Quaker and a couple of their new religious Christmas charts, using the color and cotton thread, I decided to go ahead and use the thread for this project as well. So if you're interested in seeing my little conversion, that is what I have. I'm planning to do the little frill as well. It's just not really a priority. I want to get the drum finished first. And I'm pretty close to having it done. Really don't have a whole lot more to go. I just have a palm tree and some buildings. And this is on a piece of 36 count orphan linen from Needle and Flax. I think it's like one of her medium colors. I'm not sure what the dye name would be, but if you ever see her shop has her orphan linens in stock, it just means there's a little bit of a blemish that she thinks makes it worth less. And it really, I mean, that little red dot is what made this $19 for a fat quarter. So, I mean, if you can get one of her orphan linens, it's a great deal. But yeah, I had hoped to finish this in time for Christmas, but I will get it done hopefully for her birthday. I also started, I've had this kitted for a long time, Pennsylvania Christmas Deer. I somehow ended up with 2 copies of this pattern, so I sent one to Laura from Brenda and Laura. And I had a kit, one of them I had a kit from Country Sampler, so this one, it's on the called for, which is 36 count Aztec Red from Weeks Dye Works. And I am using the Ecru from DMC. And I just wanted to get a quick start on it, just so next year, hey, I already have it in progress and I can continue working on it. So stitching on the red fabric was a little bit of a challenge, just because I don't ever stitch on colors, so getting my eyes to adjust to the holes on a colored linen. But I got used to it. And I started in the top center because I want to get down and do the deer. I think they're cute. And I'll probably make it into a pillow. Well, I don't know, because the finished size, it says 7.1 inches by 6.5. That's a big pillow, so I might frame it. But if I do make it a pillow, I have the fabric and the trim. So there's Pennsylvania Christmas tree, and I have the follow-up chart to it as well, but I haven't started it. I'd like to get this one done first. All right, the next one, this is a Halloween chart. When Witches Go Riding by With Thy Needle and Thread. I have finished 2, I think, of the 3. I don't know if I've started the 3rd one or not. So I think I finished that one. Yeah. I have my needle in my 3rd piece of linen. That must mean I'm ready to go. So the first chart I did, I don't know why my brain is the way it is, but I thought it went like this. So I stitched the whole thing sideways, which doesn't really matter, but all of my X's are going the wrong direction from the way I normally stitch. I just went ahead and finished it how it was, and I thought no one will ever know. But that's just kind of the funny story on that. And then I'm using the called for, I think, which is, well, I'm using 36 count Vintage Country Mocha, so it's probably a little bit lighter than the 40 count. And the thread that was called for to do the text was ghosting really bad, and so I did switch that out for another thread. I think I used Palomino, which is in the pattern Pamlico, instead, and then you could read it. But I was noticing, I don't know why I used the wrong color in the first chart for the broom, and then when I stitched the second chart I was like, oh, I did that wrong. Am I gonna fix it? Probably not. The last chart, there's less stitching in the 3rd chart. They do have brooms. I don't know. I don't think it's that noticeable. But I'm hoping to get this one out again this year and finally finish all 3 into pillows, just like the photo. This next one I lost my steam on. This is A Pocket for Potions by Lottie Daw. And what I was gonna do was I was gonna make a little stitchy box, like you know, where people take the jewelry boxes and they rip the insides out and they recover it and like thread. And so I was gonna make the seasonal Halloween stitchy box. And I think I'm using, I think it's Seraphim Dirt Road? No. Dirty Tika? I don't know. It's something like that. I was just going to pull out a few of the poisons or potions until it was big enough to stitch into a little flat, and then I was going to glue it on top of the jewelry box, the stitchy box. And I don't know. I like it. I'm just not feeling, I don't know. I got sick of it, I guess. So maybe this Halloween I will be reinvigorated. But I was using Cottage Garden threads. Really pretty threads. They're variegated. Here, I'll switch my camera. I got these in a set from the Witchy Stitcher. I don't think she has the set anymore. This was before I realized the instructions for removing the thread are on the back of the card. So that's what it's supposed to look like when you store it. I love Putrid Purple. That's fun. Anyway, they're all named kind of these lovely Halloween theme. So I was thinking the next one I might do is Hogwart, and then I was going to go back and add a border to kind of frame it out. it's really not that much more. I should just finish it and then work on my stitchy box and make that happen, because I do love Halloween stitching. So in that same bag is Slightly Spooky by Little Robin Designs, and I was using the same threads on these, which is why they're in the same bag. And wow, I really gave up on that. I have an error, which is why, look at how cool that one is, Witchy Night. I have an error at the top. I think I need to tear out the whole sawtooth border up here and redo it, because it's not lining up. I'm pretty sure I didn't fix it, but I'll have to sit down and really look at it. Yeah, I think it's off still. But I was thinking I would use these two colors. Either that one or Black Ichor. These two are so similar, but Witchy Night has like a purpley sheen. I might do just what it says, or just black and orange. But I like those. I don't remember the fabric, and I feel like, I hope I cut enough to fit all three. I gotta be careful when I start the next one that I get it more centered. But that is in progress. Slightly Spooky. I know it's all on 36 count. I'm gonna pause this while I put all this back because it's a mess. Okay. I have another Tiny Town. This is A Honey of a Tiny Town by Heart and Hand. And I have the frill that goes with it. I've actually stitched the frill, but the Tiny Town, I was using, again, the Primrose colors because they have a lot of bee charts. And I just thought I want all my bee stuff to match. So I was using the Primrose colors, which I believe it's all DMC. Here's my card. Those are the DMC numbers that I'm using. So you can kind of see, like, instead of this dark blue, I used more of an aqua. And, you know, the green is a little bit lighter. It's going to be really cute. I'm going to do a drum finish on it. But I haven't worked on it in a couple of years. I do really like bee stitching, though. And I believe it's 36 count flax, probably. Okay, this next one, this is another sampler from Hands Across the Sea. Ann Webb. Love the colors in it. I love the color pink, so I was drawn to this especially. And she stitched this when she was 9. I was not doing stitching when I was 9. I was busy playing in the dirt. So it's always amazing to me when you see how young these stitchers were. I'm gonna hold this up. Oops. This is what I have so far. I started it last year. I do really like it. The fabric is Atomic Ranch. I think it's Vanilla Cream, 36 count. I'm using the 103s. I'll zoom in for you. It's got some interesting things in it. Like, I have no idea what that is. It looks like a rabid squirrel. And it has like navy, like a mask, a navy mask and a pink eye. And then I'm guessing these are monkeys. But Yeah, I love the colors. I think my problem, knowing what I know now, 103s work a lot better coverage wise on 40 count and higher, and I don't mind the coverage on 36. So there's dog hair on literally everything. I don't mind stitching with 103s on 36, but for this one, this was the first time I was really stitching with pin stitches and experimenting with starting with a pin stitch. And I had my pin stitches fall out a few times on this, and I don't know if it's because it's hard to split such a fine thread when you're doing a pin stitch or what. So I think I ended up, I do a pin stitch a little bit differently than everyone else, and one of these days I'm going to demo it, but I call it pin stitch the carry way, and it is actually not the way you do a pin stitch at all, but I've been doing it for a couple of years and I've never had anything fall apart. So I think once my pin stitches started falling out, I was like, I'm gonna put this one up. I think I have 5 more. Okay, these next 2 were PDF charts, so I'm gonna have to track down a picture for y'all. I know they're primrose. I don't know what that is. It's a Lugana that I'm stitching it on. Let me find a picture. Okay, so I was using this pattern by Primrose Cottage called Booze, Hisses, and Cross Stitches. And I think I started it kind of on a whim one day because I just sort of left it barely done. And then the other pattern I have in the bag, I'm using the same thread colors for both, and I think I picked my own. Some of them might be the same. So I have Fallen Leaves, Black Coffee, Wild Oats, Gingerbread, Ye Old Gold, and Rainy Day. Oh, just kidding, I'm not using the same. The other one I'm going to be making is, hang on, is Boo. And the threads I'm using for that are Weeks. Again, I think I changed the thread colors from what the called for was. I have Coal, Sweet Potato, Grits, and Bee's Knees for the Halloween Quaker. So maybe I can work on that this year. Although now I'm like, well, why don't I just do it on 36 count? Why am I doing it on Lugana? I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe it's not too late to change it. So that's what I was doing. I accidentally like have the skipjack sampler up here too. Okay. The next one I have, this is Anne Grimshaw, 1818. I bought this pattern not to stitch it. I just wanted to look at it. And I think that's totally valid. If you want to buy a pattern just to look at it, no pressure to stitch it. Just buy it because you want to look at it. I had been watching Carol, Saltbox Stitcher, and when I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way I would ever stitch that. It's way too much. And Carol worked on it, and I finally, when she finished hers and held it up, I was so blown away that I was like, I am going to stitch this. And so I got a little bit of it done. The top left corner, the whole thing, it's like 2 feet tall. It is enormous. I worked on it, I think, twice last year. Got a few of the motifs in. I do still want to make it. I think I have a full fat half here. And I believe it's Fiber on a Whim Cream and Sugar. And Carol used Gloriana Silk and Antique Black. So I just kind of collected anytime it was in stock at 123. I just collected skeins. I think she said she used 8, and that means I bought 12 just to be sure. So I have a whole bunch of Gloriana, and like I said, I do wanna work on that one. It's a good one color sampler. This next one, I don't think I have any interest in stitching it anymore. Maybe it needs to be rehomed. It is Barbara Anna Designs, All Creatures Great and Small. I'm doing it on 40 count. Oh, okay, that wasn't that bad. I lost my mouse. I'm using all the DMC. 40 count. I don't know what this fabric is. It kind of looks like Winter Brew. Winter Brew has a strong coffee smell, but I don't know, it doesn't really smell like Winter Brew. That's what I have. I worked on it like 1 or 2 nights a couple of years ago. I wasn't even stitching on 40 count then, but this was my first. I think because the chart is so big, I knew I couldn't do it on a smaller count without buying a huge amount of fabric. So I like it a lot. Let's get a close-up on the pattern. Again, there's a lot of motifs to keep you from getting bored. I don't think I'm going to get rid of it or rehome it. I think I'm just going to put it away. I don't know. I've seen a couple of people finish it in the last couple of years. I do think it is really neat. So we'll see. Oh, look. It is 40 count Brenda's Brew. You don't even find that anymore. Oops. I've got 3 more. This is another series from Country Cottage Needleworks. Dang it, I thought I switched the... This is another series from Country Cottage Needleworks. It is called Beach Boardwalk. And there are 2, 3, 4, 7 patterns. I have been stitching these off and on for a couple of years. I've almost got 3 completed. And I am using it's 32 count flax, I believe. So the first one I finished was the ice cream shop. And then I stitched this one during the Super Bowl in 2024, I think. And then most recently, I had the saltwater taffy shop started, but not finished. And I had the roof done, most of the building outlined. So I went through and I added the window, the door. I still have to add the dark blue for the ocean. And what else is there? I got to fill in the rest of the roof, do some back stitching. Not a whole lot left to do. But it's going to be cute. I think I want to finish them as little flat stand-ups, just like the pictures. And I already have fabric that is perfect for it. I had planned to, I have it in here. I have some trim if I want to add trim. Oh wait. Oh no, it is 32 count flax. Yeah. I even got these cool buttons from Just Another Button Company. So when I do the little bow at the top, instead of a button, or instead of a plain button, I can use one of these cute buttons. So I have like major plans, and I think they would fit really nicely on my picture ledges as little flats. It'd be cute to have all 7 of them sitting up there. So that's Beach Boardwalk. And this next one I love so much. This is Elizabeth Furness by Hands Across the Sea. This was another one that I was like, I am never ever going to stitch that. It's way too much. And then I was watching Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. Olivia finished hers, and when she held up the finished piece, I was like, oh crap. So I bought all the stuff. I bought the same linen that she used, and I started stitching it, and I found that I just love it. It's 36 count Bee's Knees by Seraphim, and I'm using all the DMC for it. So let's zoom in on that. I love the tree. Oh, I just love it. And I even want to get the same frame that Olivia used. She got hers at Hobby Lobby, and it's just this perfect like pale blue frame. This one's gonna get some love this year. And I've just been having such a good time with it. I haven't screwed up anywhere like fatally. I don't think I have any fatal mistakes. The rose was quite a challenge. My eyes were crossing by the end of that one. And then the tree, you've got to make sure you're on the right branch when you're stitching the leaves, because it's easy to get off on that and look at the wrong branch. But I was thinking the cartouche, I would maybe do, I don't know, my grandparents. Let's see, I'll put my name maybe in the year in the cartouche, because I don't think anyone's going to be that impressed that I stitched it when I was 38. And then instead of the verse on either side of it, I think I might do, Olivia, I think she did the wedding anniversaries of her grandparents and their names on either side. So I thought that might be what I would do. But I'm not there yet. I can think about it. But I do really, really like this pattern. So pretty. And the threads for DMC, I mean, they are just so pretty, so vibrant. Really love that. Okay, I have one more WIP, but I have to go get something for it. So hold, please. Okay, my last WIP that I still love and I want to finish is the Prim Stitch series by Lori Holt. I'm using the called for 25 count Prim Lugana with DMC and a little bit of the Orifloss. I hope you can't hear all this crinkling because Ginger's standing on my pile of plastic. Hey, do you have to do that? Like, why? Okay, so I've actually restarted this already. I was doing it on 40 count, or not 40 count. I was doing it on Prim 25 count, and I had done the top 3 patterns, only to realize I was one hole off on my stitching, and this was before I realized there is a correct way to start on fabric when you're doing over 2. There's a certain linen, like start next to a vertical linen thread, and then you won't be off by half a stitch. And I didn't want to take it all out, so I just restarted it. And I started it somewhere else in the chart that I haven't done before to keep it interesting. So I still want to work on it, and I have to put you on the ground. I'm sorry. Hang on. I still want to work on it because I ordered a frame for it already, thinking if I ordered the frame, then surely I will be inspired and motivated to finish the project, right? So this is from Signed and Numbered, and I think I paid like $150 for this frame. And I need to finish the project so that I can frame it, because it would be so cute in this frame. And it's just sad because the frame is like collecting dust, and now I have all these cobwebs on my legs. So let me switch my camera so we can look at this a little bit closer. So I've done the bottom left 4 blocks. I changed this block because I wanted it to represent our cat Winnie, who's a little pudgy calico. And instead of a bluebird, I made it a cardinal because we have a lot of cardinals where we live. And I just kind of took a picture of Winnie and tried to recreate some of her markings on there with threads that I think were probably already in the thread pack. But I am using the DMC when I can. I will say, I think the contrast between these two DMCs is not as strong as the Orifloss. This is a little bit darker. So I think the yellows, I am using the Orifloss. And the same goes for, let's see, these 2 colors. These are supposed to be 2 different colors, 3817 and 503. When I was stitching her dress, I was like, that is not going to be enough contrast. So I did use the Orifloss for her dress, the blues in that one. So I just have those saved in my bag with it in case I need them. But for the most part, I'm using the DMC. And so that block down there is supposed to be Gratitude and Grace. I'm almost finished with that one. I think I was part of the club with Fat Quarter Shot. Look, I even have, I don't know how I ended up with all this thread, my goodness. So, still need to do that one. There's the original cat block. So you can see I kind of added a stomach. Poor Winnie. She can't help it. I've done that one. I've done the church. That one I haven't done. I'm also making the quilt version, which I hope to finish someday. And I have stitched this. This will be the 3rd time I have stitched this block. I stitched it as a standalone when it first came out. So I've got my work cut out for me on that one. And I believe you can get all the charts from Fat Quarter Shop, and I think they also have the border, like if you're going to stitch it all as one piece. I think you can, I don't know if it's free, or I don't want to show too much of it for too long. But anyway, so that is it for my WIP Parade. 2 hours and 29 minutes. Cool. I hope you found something inspiring during this video. I appreciate all of your kind comments that everyone leaves. That makes me feel so good, and it's encouraging for me to come on here and keep doing what I'm doing. I have to go to the post office. They went to lunch early today, so I have 48 packages I need to ship, and I failed to print out the USPS scan form from PayPal. Apparently there's a window, and if you don't print it the day you create the labels, you can't print it at all. So what that means is the postmistress is going to have to scan each package individually instead of just scanning one barcode for all the packages, and I'm afraid she's going to hate me. So I'm totally stressed out about that, and I have to go and do that. And these packages are heavy and bulky because I just had a destash. I'm still quilting. I just had a lot of fabric that I needed to get off of my back. It was to the point where it was like creating negative energy every time I looked at it because I hadn't made the project I had bought it for. And so I just wanted to destash my fabric, get it down to a point where it's like stuff I do really want to work on, and then just refocus and focus on my top projects that I want to make. Like I really, really want to make the Farm Girl, the Quilted Farm Girl that Lori Holt just released. It's so cute. So I'm excited about that, and I feel like it'll reinvigorate my quilting mood. But other than that, I'm gonna go do that, and hopefully I won't get yelled at. I thought about bringing her a bag of candy, but I don't know. Well, if you've watched all the way to the end, I appreciate it. Thank you. And I will be back with a regular floss tube, hopefully in a couple of weeks. But until then, happy stitching. Bye.
What? Come here. Oh, he's a big boy. Here's Whiskey. Whiskey says hello. I don't want to be licked. You're just such a happy boy. You're just such a happy boy. Who's that handsome little man? Huh? Who's that handsome little man? Okay, go do something.
Okay, Jake, this is my thumbnail image that I'm hoping we can get. How's that?